Hello everybody, this is PT from BurgZerg Arcade at BurgZergArcade.com, and here we are again with another tutorial for our little hack and slash series. This should be number 268 in the series, so let's go ahead and jump right in. So the last time in Unity we went ahead and we fixed our idle animation. Thanks to FroGames for fixing that, even though they fixed it a year ago. I finally got a hold of it. But anyway, so our idle animation's working. And the time before that, we switched up our mob, and I still have to add a 3D text to it for its name. Let's see what kind of weapon he has today. He's got a big axe. But if you notice, we started playing around with his attack animation. We have the timer set for the attack every 2 seconds. And the animation is going off, but it's still not quite right. There's one thing I want to work on before we finish off with that animation. And that's to set a flag to be able to tell if our characters are in combat or not. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into the code and we'll add that first. So this is something I'm going to want to use on both our PC and our mobs. And there's going to be a few things we're going to want to do with this flag. Basically, we're going to be using this flag to limit the options that a mob has available to it. So while it's in combat, it can do things that are defined to be done in combat, and you can also have things that are defined to be done out of combat. And well, obviously you can just check the flag and say, oh, you know what, this mob is out of combat, let's go ahead and do these. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and put it here. I'm just going to make it public for now, and I'm just going to make it a Boolean value. So we're in the base character.cs script, and we'll make it a bool, and I'll just say in combat. And down in awake, I'm going to start this off equaling true, and we'll just do it down here. So I made it public, so in combat, so we'll make it equal false. To start off not in combat. And then let's just go down and make getter and setter for it. And let me see, what do we have here? I'm actually going to go above all of this. Well, no, we'll just go ahead. We'll just throw it down at the bottom for now. So we'll put it right down here. And it's going to be public. And we're just going to return a Boolean value. And I'm just going to say in combat for the method name. We're not using those, and we'll just say get set. It's been a while since we used a getter and setter. And for get, I'm just going to return the value. Here we're just going to, whoops, I moved my key forward. I'm just going to take the value that they're passing in and assign it to the variable. So basically they can say something, like in combat equals false. It's not really the way I want it to work, but for now it'll be fine. Alright, so we'll save that off. And now we're going to come over to the AI script. And we're going to want to set this flag when they actually first enter combat. So we'll just start off, go up to the top, and let's just start shrinking some of this stuff down. See the awake. So there's going to be a few options here. We're probably going to want to change around to take full advantage of this. Let's see, to start off with, you should only search when he's in peace mode, for instance. Let's see, I believe my starts were. Let's go down to the finite state machine. Let me shrink all these down. Oh, missed it. So as we can see by the main finite state machine, we don't really have a whole lot of options here. We have idle, where the init and setup only happen once when the mob is first created. So basically, search and decide. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink these down. Take a look at search. This is where you're supposed to actually find the mob. And there's a few things I have to do in here. For instance, I want to make sure that the state is set to idle. So if, and this script is off the base, so we should have access to it in combat. Well, this is in the AI script. We're actually going to have to reference the mob script. And I believe we actually set that up already. Yes, we called it me. So underscore me dot in combat. And then we're just going to want to go ahead and set the me dot in combat to equal false. All right, that'll be it for that. Oh, sorry. Right here, we want to go ahead. This is broken. There we go. And we'll want to set the state here. This is where he actually decides to go into combat. So me, and we'll just check. He shouldn't already be in combat, but I'm going to put the check in anyway. If underscore me dot in combat. And what I'm going to check is to see if he's not in combat. So we'll put the little exclamation mark. And of course, if he's not, we're going to want to go in combat. All right, so now he goes to state decide on his next iteration through, and of course he's going to move and do all the stuff that we've done through combat. There's one other option I want to take care of, and that's when he stops attacking you. For instance, you run through the portal, and he starts running back to his home base. I also want to turn around and switch him to peace there. One of the things I also want to look at later on, well, one of the things I want to implement later on is different regeneration rates. And this flag will be used for that as well, being able to check to see if he's in combat. Well, he regenerates slower. If he's not in combat, regenerate faster. So that's the reason why well, it's not the only reason why, but it's one of the main reasons why I'm putting this flag in right now. Because I just want to be mindful of it while I'm still adding more things. But anyway, that one other instance is where I want to put it in, and I believe it's actually in the triggers. I actually forgot I was using these triggers. I'm going to want to go ahead and put it in here as well. So right down here is where we're setting the target to be equal to, well, his spawn point, its home. This is where I'm actually going to go ahead and switch the flag as well. So I'm just going to come down here, and of course I'm still going to use the check. So if underscore me dot in combat, and we're just checking to see if he is in combat. Then we'll go ahead and set it. And we'll set it to false. Let me see. I don't want to do the same thing here because there might be certain instances where when a player enters his area, basically, and you don't want him to instantly go into combat. And some of those instances might be if you have some sort of, well, when he's searching, maybe you have some sort of stealth in your game and he doesn't detect him right away. You don't want him actually in combat yet, at least not until he detects him. And I don't think I'm going to be moving any of this logic over to the NPC class itself, but if I did decide to do that, I'd have to then factor out the whole getting into combat on the on-trigger enter, and I don't really want that step. But anyway, we've taken care of that in the actual, I believe it was the search step. Yeah. So we took care of it up here, so we don't have to worry about it in the other one. And one last thing I actually want to take care of is actually debugging it out just to make sure it works. So what I'm going to do is actually come up to our finite state machine, and we'll throw the debug log up here. So debug.log, and I'll do it as a warning just so it's yellow and easier to spot. And what I want to debug out is, well, some string concatenated with our actual value. So we'll just say combat. There we go. And leave one spot there. So let's head back into the game. We'll go ahead, reset it. And we'll just go ahead and start this up. And sure enough, he's not in combat. Let's clear that out. And when we run up to him, he should switch into combat. And now that I think of it, I don't think he actually runs through the full finite state machine while he's in combat. Let's just check. So he's not in combat, and it's just going to stay like that, even though he actually, well, he's technically still not in combat. He's just chasing us. I think maybe that should be when we put him in combat. But anyway, let's just quickly check here. So he comes in, he attacks me. Yeah, we don't actually have the full finite state machine when he's in combat. So it goes down to search. And we'll go through, and yep, this is where we're actually putting him in combat. It's just not debugging it out up there. So let's get him down to the move, because that's called every frame that he's active. And let's just go ahead and cut and paste this in down there. Now it's going to spam a lot more, but at least we'll see it. We can always turn it off after. So we'll go ahead, again, let it run its course for compiling. We'll go ahead, we'll hit start, and run through. I'm a little stuffed up today, so I'm a little nasally during this recording. My wife slept with the fan on last night, but unfortunately she put the fan pointing towards me. So I'm going to pause it, and if we come up to the top, you know, it's false, false, false. Sure enough, when it finds us, it switches to true. Now I paused it because I actually want to come in and run through the portal just to make sure it switches to false. And there we go. Apparently pausing it while I was holding the key down locked me moving backwards. And when I run through the portal, it should switch to false. And it's still true. Let's go ahead and see if he is actually running back. He is. He's actually already got back. We'll run back up. Yep. So let's go ahead and figure out why that did not work. So I'm going to come back into my, well, let's clear this first. We'll head back into MonoDevelop. And let's come down to our onTrigger exit. And I'm just going to uncomment this. Let me see. If the collider exiting us is tagged as player, set the target to home, and if we're currently in combat, set us to not be in combat. So that should work. Let's go ahead and run in. Of course, there's probably people sitting there at home looking at the code going, dude, the error's right there. All right, so sure enough, he's in combat. He's running at us. I'm going to go back through the portal. Let's pause it. And the onTrigger exit does not seem to be working. Scroll up slowly. I'm not getting the debug log from it. So keep scrolling through. Because this can spit out quite a few frames a second. Well, here. Just to make it easier, because we know he is switching to combat here. We'll comment that out, and let's just go ahead and do this. me just check your player. It should work. I'm just going to stop it, start it back up. I want to click my player and make sure he is tagged as player, which he is. All right. Let's go see what's going wrong. This might be a longer video than I intended. It's already over, it looks like 13 minutes. Okay. So he attacked us. We're going to run through the portal. Try that again. Okay, we are getting on trigger exit, and the combat is still true. So at least we know where the problem is. It's down here. So it's checking if I am in combat, set the combat to be equal to false. Let's go ahead, we'll move this debug line up just a little bit more. There we go. That should be fine. I'm actually going to put it in here, just to see if, I'm pretty sure this is being called because the target is getting set to home and he is running towards it. But we'll just here, let's put a number here, 1 and 2. Just so I know which one is being called. So I'm going to go ahead, start it back up. False, yeah. I'll add my mesh later. Go ahead, run up to them. Now, it might actually just be in the logic where we're setting it to be true and where we're setting it to be false. Alright, so let me see here. So, it's true. Okay. I wasn't actually paying attention there. I could hear my son stomping around upstairs, which means I'm going to have to end soon. But anyway, so it was in false. We entered the on-trigger exit. It comes in true, it comes out false. And then it could not find its target, which is the message we're supposed to get when it can't find the target. So I'm actually going to move this back out down here, and we'll just call this one 3. Yep, my son is definitely up. So this is going to be the last attempt I get at it. If this doesn't fix it, at least in my mind, we'll just take care of it at the beginning of the next tutorial. So we'll run up. Sure enough, he's after me. Quickly hit clear. There we go. I'll pause it. So on trigger exit. So it's set to true because we haven't set it to false yet. So we set it to false, and yep, it seems to be working now. Well, it's probably been working all along, but for some reason, without the other debug log statements, it was not working. So let me go through and erase these debug log statements. Now you might hear my son talking for the last part of this, as he can hear me downstairs. And he's still young enough that he's just going to come straight to me. Okay, so anyway, let's hurry up get this done. It's false. Go ahead, hit clear. Run through, and it's false. I wonder if the problem was if he actually got into combat and got an attack off. It might be getting it set in there. But I'm probably definitely going to have to come back and look at this. It might have just been... okay, there we go. He attacked. It might have actually just been nothing, but we'll check anyway. So there we go. Well, it's triggering out defaults now anyway, so it looks like everything's working fine. I'll just have to keep an eye on it for the next few tutorials. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Oh my god, how do I get... Look at the hole!
What hole?
Everything's my fault. What the hell are you doing down here?